Oh, hey, buddy, it's your old pal Scott, and this is Let's Talk Tabletop. There's a format of Warhammer that used to be super popular like a decade ago, and it's completely dead. And I think we should bring it back. Let's dive into it. So, over the years, Games Workshop has produced several different editions of Warhammer, and with every single edition, certain things are more powerful or weaker or whatever. And of course, the tournament scenes usually adapt in some way or another, whether some sort of comp system or whatever. Certain ban lists for different armies. And one of my very favorite formats ever is now a dead format because I don't know of any other convention other than my own convention that still uses this format. And it is the Highlander format. If you're not familiar with this, it was really popular in the 6th or 7th edition of 40k. And essentially, the Highlander movies where there can only be one. Well, essentially, you can only take one of every single unit. You can't take multiples of anything. And there's a really good purpose for this. Essentially, it prevents spam, so you can only take one of each thing, so you can't just take 3 of the best thing in your army, right? Which is what I love. I love preventing spam. And you know where spam is often found? In net lists. See, when people can just rely on a net list to Google #1 Space Marine list, I think that takes something out of the whole experience. Obviously, they still need to know how to make good decisions on the battlefield. Obviously, they need to know how to react to circumstances and all that. But having a pre-made, proven list that you can just copy and paste and then figure out how to use properly probably means that you're making things easier for yourself. And for at least me, part of the game is the challenge of being strategic and outthinking my opponent, as opposed to just copying someone else's homework and then hoping for the best. Now, I know that might rile up a bunch of people, but Games Workshop has never been balanced. Like, almost no game is ever balanced, right? And some units are just better than others. Some armies are just better than others at different times in the cycles. And most of the net lists usually capitalize on those things. You have one particular unit that's really great. Well, I'm going to take 3 of them and put all my points I can into them. Well, okay, but doesn't that seem somewhat lazy? Doesn't that seem somewhat boring? I mean, sure, there's still skill involved. Sure, you got to use it appropriately, but you're basically playing potentially on easy mode because your army might be better and they pick the best stuff for you and you're taking someone else's idea. That's kind of what I hate about the modern version of the online stuff, where in the past you had to actually, and I'm talking pre-internet, you actually had to figure out things for yourself. You actually had to read your codex and learn your book and come up with some sort of scheme. But now it's just like, just copy it. I'll just Google it. And I hate that. That's why we do Highlander. So the Highlander format is a lot of fun because you basically just take no more than one of each thing. And as a game designer, that's such a beautiful and simple tournament format. Just Highlander. It's in the name. Not more than one of each thing. Cool. I mean, it's just so delicate and so wonderful that you can just make one sentence, no more than one of every unit, and then it's easy to follow. Now, of course, some armies, is like Harlequins is a little hard to do a Highlander format, unless you're doing like 1,250 points or 1,000 points. 2,000 points of Harlequins, I don't think you could do. Now, of course, they're part of Eldari now, so you could put other Eldari stuff in there. But Harlequins, like a pure Harlequin list or a pure Cavalite list for Dark Eldar, that would be hard, right? Pretty much impossible. But given that, you might say that that's really throttling you. Oh man, it's so restrictive, yada yada. Well, it's also equally restrictive to everyone else. So that's the nice thing. Yeah, you can't take 3 units of Terminators. Sorry, but the other guy can't either. So it's a pretty even playing field. And at Shorehammer, we see almost no copies. I mean, like, you can have 60 players, because we limit it because of space. We have other tournaments going on. 60 players for our Highlander tournament. And, like, all of the 60 lists are pretty much unique. Every once in a while, you'll have 2 people that copy. They don't copy, but they have the same list by chance, right? But by and large, it's a pretty nice format. So this is one dead format for Warhammer that I absolutely think should come back. And that's why I still have it at my convention. Anti-cheese, anti-spam, anti-net list, simple. So you let me know if you would hate to play a Highlander format, or if you enjoy Highlander. A lot of our casual games, we just play Highlander format. Like, typically, when I just play random Necron lists, I just always do Highlander format. It's just something that comes natural to me. And then you see a big variety in different lists and units being taken, which is kind of nice. So, let me know what you think, and I will see you next week. It's at this point in the show where I like to say a little smidge about each one of these weird characters that support my channel, and I love them to death. The first thing I got to tell you is that Mike lives in a cave. It's weird, but he's made it actually quite nice. We saw it. It's all trimmed out. There's drywall. The cave is actually quite nice, so don't knock it till you tried it. As far as Grendel, he is actually banned from being within 100 feet of a playground. And not for the reasons you might think, okay? It's because he never, ever abides by the age restrictions for the playground equipment. He's in his 40s now, and most of them say no more older than 16, and he will still climb it, and he's gotten in a lot of trouble. Not to mention he got stuck in one of the monkey bars one time. Embarrassing. Oddly enough, Hero has never seen the color yellow. And I'm like, how do you go about not seeing the color yellow? He claims he hasn't, so I don't know. Beef Supreme just got a demotion at work recently, which is very unfortunate for him. He's no longer Beef Supreme, he's actually just Beef Superior, which is one step lower. Kevin goes bowling with basketballs, which is an odd take on that sport. Jordan is a character. He wears t-shirts on his top. He also wears t-shirts on his bottom because he doesn't like the feeling of shorts. Paint and Suffering recently told me he's certain that he saw the Goat Man on a backcountry road recently. Terrifying. Fraud Fishy has missed out on no less than 3 Powerball jackpots because he figured they would just call him if he won. Saul doesn't want you to know this, but he's actually just a cartoon. You cannot convince Nate that Diana Prince is not Princess Diana. They don't even look alike. Shh. The Peppers are currently holding a seance. Poor Kenneth, could not reply to me this week because he's dangling from a cliff, precariously. Davich thought that he used to sleep in bunk beds as a kid. Come to find out it was just dresser drawers. Brendan is actually a thawed-out caveman. And Mitch will stab you for a marshmallow. I'll see you guys next week.